YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here with yet another Washington football team video, and in today's video, I'm going to do something similar to where I did with the players a few days ago. In fact, if you guys missed that video, I did studs and duds for the Washington football team players of the 2020 season. I want to do something similar to that with the coaches, but instead of doing studs and duds with the coaches, I'm going to do them by a grading scale from A to F. So let's get straight into today's video, but before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload a video about the NFL, in this case our Washington football team. And let's get straight into today's video. Don't forget, I just opened up a new email so you guys can send me all your Washington football team comments and questions that you have, so you can be in the weekly Q&A that I do on this channel every single week. Once we receive 10 to 15 questions, I will put out the very first episode where I answer you guys questions weekly. So continue to send your questions, and if you haven't sent your questions, make sure you send them to the email that's on screen and in the description so you can be featured in the episode each and every week. And if your question is not answered in this week's episode, it will get answered in the next week's episode. And share it out to your friends so we can get more people involved and have their questions featured on the show. So with that out the way, let's get straight into today's video. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think none of the coaches deserve an F. Trust me, all the coaches don't deserve an A either, but I don't think none of them deserve an F. So why not kick it off with the people that wins the championships, the defense, Jack Del Rio, JDR. JDR came in and turned one of the worst defenses in 2019 to the second best defense in 2020. I honestly think he deserves an A+, but I'm going to be realistic and be honest, because Jack Del Rio had his moments. Trust me, especially that playoff game, he had his moments. So I'm going to give Jack Del Rio an A, because I honestly think he did well, and he turned this team from one of the worst defenses last year to one of the best. But I think it was just little things that kind of affected his grade from being an A+ to A, like the playoff game. Just like, I don't like how he plays the soft zones all the time. Like, sometimes I wish he can switch it up. I don't like how he tries to get cute and runs cover two inverts where the safeties have to switch. Cornerback goes to safety and the other corner jogs down as a cornerback. Like, I don't like when he tries to get too fancy. I wish he played a little more straight up and just man up. And as far as the zone goes, I don't have an issue with the zones. I just have the issue with how much he runs it. So the frequency of his zone play calls, I wish he ran a little bit more man. It allows us to give the quarterback another look instead of them getting the same look. As far as the defensive line, I know we have to give our starters rest. I understand that, especially with Matt Ioannidis being out. We didn't have the same rotation as we normally would with Settle and Ioannidis coming in while Payne and Allen rest. I understand we were shorthanded at that, but I just don't like the rotation of Casey Toohill and James Smith-Williams being in while you take out Chase Young and Montez Sweat. Trust me, I understand our whole D-line has to get rest, but I just don't like the combination. Why is Casey Toohill getting so many snaps? Why is Tim Settle not in the game? Like, I understand, like I said, our players need rest. You gotta know how to mix up your combinations. Allen and Payne cannot be off the field at the same time. And in their defense, for their season, they didn't expect to play as many snaps as they played. Trust me, I understand that. But also to Jack Del Rio, you have to be able to adjust on the fly. That's a part of coaching, and I honestly think he did a solid job at that. His substitutions were questionable, and that's really what I had my biggest problem with Jack Del Rio. If I talk about all the good things, this video could be an hour long, because trust me, Jack Del Rio has been a phenomenal defensive coach. I don't think he's perfect. He has some flaws to him, as do every coach. So overall grade for Jack Del Rio is an A. Could have been an A+, but like I said, it was just those little things that affected his grade. So Jack Del Rio gets an A for me in 2020. Next, moving to the offensive coach. Scott Turner, offensive coordinator. Now, a lot of people had their issues with Scott Turner. I was one. I was never the guy that wanted him fired, but I understood why a lot of people didn't like Scott Turner. In his defense, he's young. This was his first year as an offensive coordinator, his first year having play calling duties under him being the guy that called the shots. This was his first year, so he was a rookie. I understand that. I also understand us fans, like, why are you doing that play call? Why this play call in this certain time period or down? I understand where us fans came from, but we had to understand, as I believe we did as the season got on, that he doesn't have his quarterback that he can to run the system. Like I said, we didn't find that out till later on. we also had to understand that this guy's a rookie, just like how we have the young players on the field. This guy's a young guy himself as far as coaching. So we had to understand that. I honestly think in 2021 and beyond, when we get our future quarterback, whoever that may be, this offense is going to be phenomenal. Honestly, guys, as you guys seen, when he got his quarterback in there, even starting with Kyle Allen, when he got a quarterback that knows the system and he got more comfortable with, he was able to open up that playbook, and the quarterback was able to run that offense and hit the open man how it was supposed to be ran. After looking at some of the film, Scott Turner's offense is not bad. Scott Turner's offense is actually really good. If you look at the film on all of the plays, whether it was a completed pass or a sack or whatever happened on that play, somebody was always open. Never had the quarterback to get on the ball on a consistent basis, and that's our problem. Like I said, once we get the guy in here that we know can run this offense and the guy that we know can be the quarterback for the future, he's something to wreck with in the future. I'm not trying to size Scott Turner's head up, but if this team can find the quarterback, I honestly see us being able to average 30 points a game. That's how good Scott Turner's offense is. I'm being totally honest, and before you have your opinion on me and say I don't know what I'm talking about, please watch the all 22 film. This guy's offense is good. Now, on the flip side, to the bad thing, Scott Turner, I can go on and on and on for how bad he did. His questionable play calling, trying to be too cute like the Wildcat, you know, the quarterback sneak with Logan Thomas instead of just running the ball on certain downs, you know what I'm saying, and calling pitches on 3rd and 2s, knowing that we don't run pitches, running, you know, a scrambled option pass play with Alex Smith versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, not running the ball versus Tampa Bay on a certain down, not running the ball versus Carolina Panthers when Dwayne Haskins was clearly struggling. It's just so much, and it's just like when Scott Turner gets down, he has to get into pass mode, and that's not the case. If the run game is killing him, continue to stick to the run. His defense, Tampa Bay did show why they were the #1 ranked defense. I understand that, trust me, but I just feel like he abandoned the run a little too early. But at the same time, their run defense was #1 for a reason, and they quickly showed that. So honestly, with Scott Turner, man, I'm happy that he's here. Honestly, would I have preferred to keep KOC? I wouldn't be able to tell you. Maybe would he have been better for Dwayne Haskins? Yes, he would have. Clearly, he showed that Kevin O'Connell was able to build an offense around Dwayne Haskins. But also, I just think that this team was moving in a new direction, and Ron Rivera wanted to bring in his guy. And Kevin O'Connell was the odd man out, and that just wasn't good for Dwayne Haskins. So I honestly think that Scott Turner, although the much bad that he did, a lot of it was affected by poor QB play, because if you look at his play calling, his passing plays are so good. Like, someone's always open, and once we get that QB that can deliver that ball every play, or at least on a consistent basis, we're going to be something to wreck with. So I give Scott Turner overall 2020 grade a C-, because although he did have some good things, he had a lot more bad things than he did have good. Some is going to come from when we get better quarterback, and some is going to come from when he gets experience calling plays. Like I said, this guy's young. He's a rookie offensive coordinator. Now he's going to be going into his sophomore year. So some of the mistakes that he made this year, he's not going to make in 2021 and beyond, and I can almost guarantee that. Now, moving on to the next coach. Head coach Ron Rivera, man. Ron Rivera was just so phenomenal this year from a coaching standpoint, from a human being. This man has been through so much, and I could just sit here and ramble on and on and on and on about what he's been through. And you guys heard the story 100,000 times about his cancer, about having to deal with the front office, no general manager, Dan Snyder issues, getting questioned about the quarterback play, just so much while he's dealing with his cancer, and also the whole world dealing with the pandemic. So it's just like he got the double of whammy, and he even admitted at times that he got overwhelmed. He had so much on his plate, and he just dealt with so much in 2020. And the fact that he led this team to a 7-9 record into the playoffs, we know the division was bad, and that's the main reason why we really got in. So be it. We were all bad, and we just came out the best of the bad, if that makes sense. And it was all to Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera came here to build a culture, to try to build a winning team. And he did that 1 year early, and now he sees that this team isn't as behind as he once thought when he first took this team. This team is in a way ready to win, and he clearly sees that some of the mistakes Ron Rivera made, his clock managing, his game managing, we know it wasn't good. Panthers fans told us, and even in Carolina, when you watched him up and close, you know his clock management, his game game management is just not good with his timeouts, when to take a timeout, just stuff like that is just not good with Ron Rivera, and that's one of his flaws, and he had that a lot, especially earlier on in the season. He doesn't know when to review plays. Like, I'll give you an example, that Tampa Bay game, the playoff game where the ball on the punt clearly hit the Tampa Bay's player. He hit him in his pouch, a hand warmer, a pouch, whatever you want to call it. It's a part of their player's body, so it hit him, and Ron Rivera did not challenge it. That's on Ron Rivera for not challenging that. So, you know, Ron Rivera has struggles with stuff like that, but overall, from trying to build a culture, trying to build a winning staff, trying to build a winning culture, trying to build a winning team, out dealing with everything you went through, cancer, Dan Snyder, benching your quarterback, trying to build a new culture, you did all of that this year while going through so much pandemic, and this guy did all of this. I just can't be more excited about Ron Rivera and the new era he has and the new culture he has already built in Washington, and he's going to continue to build once we get a new GM. He didn't have a GM in 2020, and that's really why he had all his nose and everything as far as Dan Snyder. He wants to bring in a guy that can handle all that. He just wants to coach football. He knew this guy was serious once he benched Dwayne Haskins, once he benched Wes Martin, he benched Troy Aikman. He made a change, and he was serious about, hey, this division is up for grabs. And what happened at the end of the year? We took it. Don't let anyone take that away from you. Ron Rivera should be a Coach of the Year candidate. I don't think he's going to win it. I just think he should be a Coach of the Year candidate. Look at everything he did and everything he's been through. Now, I could ramble on and on and on about Ron Rivera, but I'm not going to choose to do that because I feel like you guys heard the story 100,000 times. Ron Rivera gets an A+ for me, and I know you guys can say I'm being biased or whatever, but from his on-field coaching ability to what he had to deal with, you cannot give nothing. You cannot give this guy short of an A+. I could give him an A++, not for just what he did for this team only in 1 year. How he fought through everything. This guy was half asleep in the middle of a game, having to take rest in the middle of practices and games, having opposing teams put couches in our locker room on the road so he can take a nap before he coaches the game. He just been through so much, and Ron Rivera deserves nothing but an A++. So good job, head coach Ron Rivera, and I cannot be more excited about this future and the way we're headed. John Matsko, the offensive line coach, is one of the guys that I wanted to sprinkle in. He did a hell of a job this year. A lot of people were like, hey, we're going to miss Bill Callahan. John Matsko, what are you doing? The offensive line is horrible. We don't know who's on this offensive line besides Brandon Sheriff and Morgan Moses. He did everything he had to do. Cornelius Lucas, Wes Martin, Wes Schweitzer, Chase Roulier, Sadiq Charles, everyone on this offensive line. He did a hell of a job, had those boys ready to play each and every week. That pass protection was phenomenal. And now you can pose the question, Bill Callahan was a little overrated because everyone thought when Bill Callahan was going to leave, the offensive line was going to go up into shambles. Everyone thought that. Till we seen with John Matsko, but this guy deserves an A in my opinion. This offensive line was so good. When Morgan Moses had to switch from right to left tackle, he made the good transition, and that's on Morgan Moses' part and also on coaching. He just did everything he had to do, and I cannot be more excited about this offensive line headed into the future. Like Ron Rivera said, we have 4 linemen under contract. We hope to make it 5, and hopefully Brandon Sheriff and the team could agree to terms soon because this offensive line has the ability to become top tier yet again how it was in past years. So with that being said, I just want to sprinkle in one underground coach because I felt like he deserved some spotlight. So there you have it, man. My grades for the 2020 coaching staff. I did it a little different from studs and duds for the players. If you guys haven't seen that video, go check it out. So I decided to switch it up from going studs and duds with the players to grading the coaching staff. Let me know what you guys would grade the coaching staff and what would you guys do differently, or do you guys agree with me? As always, this has been Boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe, help to watch the football team, and don't forget, I do have an email where you guys can send me questions. The link is in the description so you guys can be featured in Washington Football Weekly Question. Email is in the description down below. Make sure you guys send your questions so you can be featured on the show. The first episode is coming out Monday. See you guys soon. Like, comment, subscribe, help to watch the football team. I'm out.